Right. And of course, for those that are watching us via Zoom, we are streaming this on our Facebook and sponsor accounts. But any spamming or harassment on the chat will lead to the removal of any participant in this forum. So please make sure that you keep yourself muted. And this video is being recorded. So if you are saying, you are agreeing to be recorded. All right. I'll pass it now to Lori. Thank you.
Okay, a quick announcement. My understanding is that some people who are on the Zoom, trying to get on the Zoom, might need some assistance getting on the Zoom. So thank you to Eliana and Karina and Kelly for helping people to get on the Zoom. And please let anybody who told you about this forum know if people need assistance getting on to whatever the viewing device that they want to get on. Okay. We're going to give our candidates 30 seconds each to introduce themselves. We're hoping that you will share with us your name, your platform, and how you plan to be responsive to your constituents who you would represent if elected. We're going to start with those introductions, proceed through open-ended questions that are going to be asked by members of our community. We're going to have ballot measure information, countywide ballot measure information, so measures J and K, and a rapid fire question for the candidates associated with those ballot measures. That's why you have the green and the red cards in front of you. Red means no, green means yes. Then we'll have some additional community questions, followed by a really quick series of rapid fire questions, which you will use the cards again. We'll provide election information, and then candidates will have an opportunity to give their closing remarks. So we'll start with Mr. Binninger on the left and proceed over here. And just a quick note that Mr. Gill sent an email before the forum and indicated that he had been exposed to someone who had COVID. And so he said that he wanted to keep everybody safe. We've offered him a Zoom link to participate, but so far he has chosen not to participate. Ms. Kaur also let us know that she had a conflict, but she will be arriving late, is my understanding. So please forgive her intrusion when she comes in a little bit late. And we'll start with the introductions. Is my timekeeper ready? Thank you, Socorro. She's going to have a 10-second warning and a time's up card for you to help you out. So whenever you're ready, go for it.
Well, thank you all for coming out tonight. My name is Boyd Binninger, and I'm running for City Council for Ward 3. I'm a native of Bakersfield, lived here a majority of my life, and I've lived up in the actual Ward 3 for probably about 63 years. My platforms are, number one, public safety. I feel everybody should feel safe in their own neighborhood. Also, we have a great homeless problem here in Bakersfield, and I just feel that we need to do something to try and do something about that. And then important to me is also that I represent the constituents of Ward 3, that they are represented properly and that we get the same opportunities as the other wards. And my how to reach me, how I'm going to be able to be reached there is actually you'll have access to my cell phone number. Thank you.
Mr. Barron.
Thank you for being here today. My name is Zephyrino Barone. I'm a candidate for Ward 3, Bakersfield City Council. I've been here pretty much all my life. I'm 32 years old, and I've been in Ward 3 for pretty much 32 years of my life. Just like Boyd, we have a big homeless problem. That is my first issue, is to address the homelessness that we have here. Also crime, that needs to be addressed as well. And then I also would like to ban vaccine mandates and passports here in Bakersfield. And you can reach me, and you guys would have my email address, my cell phone number, and then I'm open to the public. If you see me out on the street, you're welcome to approach me. I'm very approachable. Now I'm here to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Barone, and my apologies for mispronouncing your last name. Just before we go to you, Mr. Smith, if you'll indulge me for just a moment, I do want to note that our candidates over here on the left side, your right, they are running for Ward 3, which is the City of Bakersfield seat. It has a new district. So it used to include all of Northwest Bakersfield, but now it's mostly all the Northeast Bakersfield. Just so you know, like where they're running and what that includes. Our Ward 7 candidates, they're running for also a newly drawn district in the southwest of Bakersfield that runs along Highway 99 and includes Stone Creek area and parts of Greenfield. And Mr. Smith is running for the Board of Supervisors, seat District 3. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew we have City Council candidates here and we have a Board of Supervisors candidate as well. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I was a commander of the Highway Patrol for all of Bakersfield, and then I promoted to assistant chief. I had the whole Central Valley of the California Highway Patrol. I have supervised over 1,500 employees, multi-million-dollar budgets, and my main platform here is we need to make people feel safe again. You should be able to go into your parks, go for walks, and not have to worry about crime. And let's take our streets back, our parks back. I'm also concerned about the homeless. That was that quick, huh? Wow.
And now we're going to move on to some open-ended questions. If a candidate refers to another candidate in their response, they'll have 30, the candidate who was referred to will have 30 seconds to rebut. And so we're going to go to open-ended questions with Leadership Council's representative, Sandra. There you go. Let me grab you and give you the microphone here.
Hi, thank you. My name is Sandra Plasencia, current policy advocate with Leadership Council. And my question is about affordable housing. So there's been a housing shortage all throughout the state. Okay. So it's no different in our cities and counties. The city has been more focused on long-term development. What are your short-term affordable housing programs that you would push for to meet the immediate needs of our residents?
Since we started with you, Mr. Benninger, first, we'll go to Ms. Barone, and then Mr. Smith, and to you, Mr. Benninger.
Hello? Okay. My goal for the housing is we'd invest with more houses and build more houses, but I don't want to just build communities or like single dwelling homes. I want to build them alongside commercial space. So be commercial and residential, probably on top of the commercial as well. So they'll have access to their jobs. And I would like to see something about lowering taxes as well.
Tough question to start with right off the bat, because it is a problem, and it's a problem in California. You know, here in Kern County, people are moving in. It's less expensive to live here. So it is a big problem for that. I know that some of the problems we run into is when you have to look at the environmental impact reports and those are held up. There's a lot of restrictions in building, and I think we need to look at some of those restrictions and see if more of that can be streamlined. And that way, you would see a lot more housing going up if it was a little bit easier, a little bit cheaper to build the houses as well. I just think that there's a lot of restrictions right now that are keeping more of those houses from going up.
Well, as far as in the short term, that is a good question. How do we address that in the short term? Basically, I know the city of Bakersfield has a fund set up for affordable housing thank you, City Council, for that. But what we do, I agree with Mr. Smith, it's just streamlining the process. And right now with the inputs costing so much, it's hard to get affordable housing. But again, I just think that, right now we have certain areas where I know the lots are 6,000 square feet, and that's a good sized lot, but it's also not a large sized lot. So we just need to work on finding a way to get more affordable housing out there and speed up the process.
Thank you. Next, if we could hand the microphone to Kao Chang Lau.
Okay, so my question is regarding to water access and on the regional platform. So my name is Cal Ching Lau. I am the Civic Engagement Table Coordinator for Central Valley United for Power. We are a coalition that includes 8 organizations, including the Rural Foundation, Leadership Council, and many more, and it extends all the way from San Joaquin County to Kern County. So with almost 1 million Californians in the Central Valley are affected by the state's failing water system, from July 2016 to December 2021, the Water Board, the State Water Board Division of Financial Assistance awarded $1.7 billion in loan and grant funding to support water systems with infrastructure projects across California. But there has been like a lack of urgency to make any actual progress to improving our regional water systems, and water bills are expected to increase, even when thousands of Californians are still struggling to pay for the water bill. So the question is, what is your regional level plan to address current and long-term project water access and affordability issues related in the Central Valley?
Can't believe that's Maureen. I think one of the biggest problems is we don't get the proper allocation from Sacramento, and it's not just I mean, we're a leader in the country for agriculture, oil, but also our residents. And we need to, and I've always been great about building relationships. I've had issues with the Highway Patrol that I had to actually go to Sacramento and talk with them. But I think it's just not short term. We need to plan for the future. We don't even have, we haven't even built any reservoirs. We need to get reservoirs out there. As you're probably aware, some of the water is even unhealthy in some areas because we've depleted so much water that it's gone downward, not bringing up salt. And then you see some land is actually sinking in because of the use of the water. We need to get more allocations here, and I'm the type to do it because I built these relationships in Sacramento, and I'll go up and make sure that they respect Kern County.
Yes, again, I agree with Mr. Smith. I think as a city, we need to get personally involved in the process. That the amount of money is a lot of money, and we need to make sure that it is allocated properly and that we do get our share. We do want to grow as populations, but we need to make sure that we have the water supply to take care of that growth.
My thing about the water issue is, if elected in city council, I will pass a city ordinance that would invest in ground-based cloud seeding. Ground-based cloud seeding would increase water in our city. And then I'll also lift restrictions for citizens to collect rainwater, and they will face no restrictions and no fees to do so.
Our next question goes to Ryan from All of Us or None Bakersfield. Thank you, Coaching. Ryan, can you come down? Thank you. Thank you.
How you doing? My question is about language in the Constitution. The California Abolish Act, introduced by Cam Lager, addresses the term slavery in the California Constitution. The act would amend such language from being used in the California Constitution. Where do you guys stand on legislation addressing the issue, and are you in support of the amendments to amend such language? Because we know how dangerous language can be.
Mr. Benninger?
Yeah, well, I think I understand the question, and yeah, there should not be language in the Constitution that has anything to do with slavery, if I'm understanding what you're saying, and that should be abolished or changed, because that obviously should have been done years and years ago. So I would definitely support that.
I have to agree with Mr. Benninger. Yeah, I agree with him. There should be nothing in our Constitution that has that kind of wording. And just like how he said, it should have been done a long time ago. It needs to be rewritten.
I'm not sure that, are they answering, are you just, what is the specific question? I want to make sure I get this right before I answer. Are you saying the word slavery should not be allowed to be used?
Correct.
Be used at all?
Well, for sure in the Constitution.
Okay, my only concern would be is slavery was one of the most horrific things to happen in our country. If I'm understanding your question, I think if we take that word out, I would be afraid that then we wouldn't be able to use the word slavery, which I think would be a detriment to the people that were treated that way.
Well, it's a contextual question. If you're using the word and you're just giving a history lesson, then now I understand where you're coming from.
But do you see what I'm saying though? If you start restricting the use of a word, it could actually hurt. It could actually hurt that. I think if you take, now there's some words that I would definitely say, yes, we be using. I'd be afraid if you say we can't use the word slavery, you have to be careful what it could cause. And what I'd be afraid of is when you want to bring up the way people were treated due to slavery, you could have people on the other side that are saying you can't use that word. That's what my fear would be, is that is something that should never be overlooked on what happened. It's a horrible thing that happened in this country.
And time is up.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I answered that, but I mean, as far as what you were asking, but that would be my fear.
Thank you, Ryan.
Our next question goes to Dolores Huerta Foundation Youth Representative.
All right. Thank you, Noe.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm a senior at Bakersfield High School, and I'm here in support for the Dolores Huerta Foundation. My question is, young people across the Central Valley are mobilizing and leading efforts to create new youth-centered opportunities directly in their cities and counties. What are your plans to invest in youth to create new, accessible, and high-quality economic and professional development opportunities? And are you willing to let young people lead these conversations and have them be at the forefront of decision-making processes? Thank you.
I would invest in building more youth centers here in Bakersfield. When it comes to the young people, if young people are running for office, obviously they should have a voice. Should they be allowed to actually make decisions on where it is to be built and what it is to do? I don't think that's a good idea. I think those are leadership roles. If you want to make a decision, if you want to do things like that, be up here with us and run for office.
Well, I think it's a great idea what you're saying, because the youth today and being part of this group, right? You get involved. I think it's important to get involved at this early age. I think it's smart for parents to encourage their children to get involved because you're more informed. My plans already, we've already spoken about even having tutoring, like we were just specifically talking about Oildale and some areas of the east side, where we actually have a program where we go in and tutor and help people with their education. And also, I think it's important in rec centers to have more hours so that the youth can actually be doing sports, do their programs. I know my daughters were in We the People, they were in mock trial, they were in all that, and the parents got involved. Well, we've already been talking on our team that's what we're going to be doing, is not only the reading, but also mentoring these children and getting these youth programs. So I think that's an outstanding idea, and we've already been talking about that. So thank you.
Well, first of all, the youth is our future. And so it's very important that we give them the opportunity to be mentored and to have a place to have that happen. My understanding is that at the Martin Luther King Park, the city is already addressing putting in a building that would be before that. And I would think that the city should look at to be able to do that throughout the city, because yes, I think that you guys do. You have to have a voice. That, as Mr. Barron said, that's where you're getting the leadership. And so yes, I agree with what you said.
Thank you. Our next question is going to Mr. Lupe Martinez from the Center for Race, Poverty, and the Environment and Delano Guardians. Oh, hold on one second, Lupe. Let me just do a tech check real quick. A little green light on. Let's push and hold on that Noah and see if that gets it to work.
Didn't know how to operate this thing.
Me too.
Certainly, Delano Guardians, Lupe Martinez. It was mentioned a while ago about the water and the allocation and how much we need to, our allocation and the water that we need here. But there is another issue along with the water, and that is, of course, clean water. In regards to clean water, I mean, as we know, in Delano, we've been dealing with the 123 TCP, the PCE, TCE contamination, and we're on guard on that, hoping that we don't have the water contaminated because of the PCE, TCE chemicals and so many other chemicals that we've had to deal with, the arsenic, nitrates, and so on. So it's a real problem, not only in Delano, but Bakersfield and other communities that we have this problem of contaminated water. What is your plan to make sure that all the people within your sphere of influence have clean, affordable drinking water?
We can talk about a lot of issues, but when you get to health and people's lives, it really puts things in perspective, right? I mean, you can talk about all the other problems and issues, but when you have to worry about family members getting sick or getting cancer or something like that, it's up to every single one of us to try and fight that as much as we can. But I spoke earlier, we do need to keep testing, and we need to just not accept what people tell us as far as, hey, there's nothing we can do. There's always something we can do. We can always make it cleaner water. And again, that's where I said relationships with Sacramento come in. And then also, I mean, having Kern County, we know that some areas are worse than others, and I think it's very important that we do, focus on that. Just because I think health takes precedence, people's health and safety take precedence over everything else.
Well, again, I agree with Mr. Smith, because water is a very important source for all of us. I think that testing, I want to say a lot of testing to make sure that the water is clean. And if it does come up with these parts per million in it that are bad, then we need to find out what the source of that is. And then we also need to come up with a plan to stop that source from affecting that water. And when the water is affected, we need to find an alternate source to get water to that community. Again, that sounds easy, but it's something that we need to look into.
One thing I would like to do is, not other than just invest in cloud seeding, which increases rain, is pipe relining, which is a fix for the pipes. It's cheap. It's very cheap, and it's cheaper than building new pipes, groundwater pipes. It relines them. It kind of like puts a sleeve on pipes, and it makes a pipe pretty much brand new. And that's one thing I'll also invest in, which would ensure that our drinking water is clean, and more testing.
While we're transitioning to Ms. Christina White from SEIU 2015 with our final question before moving on to the countywide measures, I just want to ask all of us to hold in our hearts for a moment a family that's very near and dear to the foundation and to many of the people here tonight who have lost a young person to cancer, and they did live in an area of our city that has contaminated water. So if we could just hold them in our hearts for the next 10 seconds, I'd appreciate it. And thank you. We lost him yesterday. Next, we have Christina White from SEIU 2015 with a question about nursing homes. Thank you, Christina.
Good evening. My name is Christina Lockyer White. I am a CNA at the Bakersfield Rehab Center. I am also SEIU 2015 First Vice President for nursing homes. I represent nursing homes up and through the state of California. Our question tonight is, nursing homes are subject to poor working conditions, unsafe staffing levels, low wages, and high turnover rates make nursing homes not dangerous for employees to work in, but also harder for workers to give the level of care that they like to provide to their patients. Over 16,000 nursing home workers are leaving the industry in California alone. That's 11.3% of the nursing home workforce due to poor working conditions. If elected, what would you do to support nursing home workers at the Bakersfield Rehab Center and other nursing homes that are facing the same issues in our area?
Yeah, I believe that's me. Well, yes, that is a problem. I've had friends that have been in nursing homes and have seen the conditions in there. And I think what we would need to do is just, like you say, it's poor working conditions, and that should be something that is taken care of either through inspections by whatever the governing body is to make sure that they are taken care of. And that's about all we can do, I would think. Gosh, it's up to the owner of the nursing homes to take care of it, but they don't seem to be doing the job, so they need to be policed and have enforcements take place.
One thing I like to do about nursing homes is making sure, you guys are being paid well. If you guys aren't, I believe. Hello? Okay, there it goes. You guys do deserve a livable wage. One thing we can do about that is, if nursing homes are funded by Bakersfield, I would help give you guys that wage increase. And the way I'll pay for it is through my views on crime. And what I'll do with crime, some of the things I would like to do with crime is going to generate income for Bakersfield. And I would like to help pay for wage increase and modernization of nursing homes with that extra money that we get.
I think one of the things that we need to realize is, especially through COVID, that when everybody else was able to stay home, you didn't have that opportunity. You still had to go there every single day. And so your conditions were probably already bad to begin with, but then you throw in COVID and then worrying about you getting sick as well. One of the problems that we also have to look at is as people are leaving, we're getting into emergency levels where once you're gone, then what do we do? Then it's too late because it's really hard to hire. One of the things is we would have to look at your benefits. We would have to look at the pay. We would have to see what's competitive with other areas. Where are they going to, and make it competitive. And then work on hiring and retaining before we're beyond the emergency level. So yeah, we would have to look at your pay and benefits to see,
Laura, vamos a empezar después de esta parte. Espérame tantito, okay? Okay. We're going to break things up a little bit with a little conversation about ballot measures here in Kern County. If you are a voter in Kern County, your ballot is going to drop on October 10th, meaning it's going to be in your mailbox. If it doesn't get in your mailbox, you want to make sure you're talking to us or talking to Kern Elections to make sure that you get your ballot or know where to go on November 8th for Election Day. You're going to see these ballot measures. The first one is Measure K. A yes on Measure K means that you would want to place a 1 cent locally dedicated and controlled sales tax in the unincorporated areas of Kern County. A yes vote would mean that if passed, the 1% sales tax would remain in place until removed by voters. A no vote means that you would not want to place a 1 cent locally dedicated and controlled sales tax in the unincorporated areas of Kern County. A no vote means that if not passed, the 1% sales tax would not be implemented or enforced. And you can see quotes there related to the people who have taken positions on Measure K, the 1% sales tax. And we're going to ask our candidates now to use their green card or their red card. A red card would mean a no, that they do not support Measure K, the 1% sales tax. A yes would be the green, saying that they do support it. So here we go. We ready? We got our cards? All right. Do you support Measure K? All right. Mr. Me Too. You used the card. Yeah. You will after we do all the rapid fires. Yeah. The question Mr. Smith had was, do we get a chance to explain our answers? And my response to him was that after we do all the rapid fires, all the little card questions, then the candidates will each get 30 seconds to explain whatever answers they want to explain. So Measure J is term limits for Kern County supervisors. A yes on Measure J means that Kern's would be limited to 2 4-year terms in office, just like we have for US President. A no on Measure J means that current supervisors can continue to be reelected without limitations on the number of terms that they can serve. And we have a quote from someone who is a proponent of Measure J, and we have a quote from one of our supervisors who made a statement at a board meeting about what he thinks about this measure. And so we're going to ask our candidates now, your position, Measure J. Green card would mean a yes, that you support term limits for supervisors, and a no would be your red card saying that you do not support term limits. So for it. All right, very good. All right, now we have more community members asking just a couple more questions. So we're going to go first to Laura Cruz.
Mil disculpas.
All right, let me just check with our wonderful tech person up there and just make sure, are we good? All right, cool. And also, I want to check in with our interpreters as well and make sure that we're good to go. All right, go for it, Laura.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Laura Cruz y soy una vecina de la Fundación Dolores Huerta. Mi pregunta hacia ustedes es, todavía tenemos comunidades que todavía están usando fosas sépticas, no tienen unas banquetas y no tenemos tampoco lo que es lámparas en nuestras calles. No hay iluminación, no tenemos unas calles seguras, tampoco las calles que están totalmente destruidas. ¿Qué harían ustedes para solucionar este problema?
She's gonna Reina's gonna interpret first, and then you can answer the question.
Hi, good evening. My name is Laura Cruz, and I want to talk about the fact that we still don't have sidewalks in our community, and we also don't have public lighting. We don't have safe streets. The streets that we have are completely destroyed. What would you do to resolve this issue?
And I didn't remember who was next, so if it's okay with y'all, we'll start with Mr. Smith.
Oh, and several of us are still on septic tanks.
Okay, so where is this?
En código postal 9307 es White Lane y Pacheco.
93307 by Pacheco and and White Lane.
Okay, I will just tell you that that is not in my district, but I agree with you that lighting is a good safety. It's the more lighting you have, the safer an area is. Sidewalks, also another safety issue to keep people out of the street area. So I agree with those areas, and I think it's important to look at putting both of them in. Obviously, you can't put lighting everywhere. I mean, you have to look at the finances as well. But there's some areas should definitely have the lighting, and sidewalks are definitely a safety issue too. So I know in my areas, I would be looking at those mostly for the safety reasons, right?
Well, that's not in our ward either, but I do know in our ward, we have similar situations. And yes, sidewalks are important and lighting especially important, especially for those of you who walk at night. And also the state of the streets that they're in, there is a lot of work that needs to be done on those. And all we can do is try to get towards taking care of that problem.
Just like Boyd said, this is not in our district, but Northeast Bakersfield is experiencing the same issue. This is why I support Measure K. You know, this in tax increase, we can use it, the income to fix our roads, put better lighting, and make sidewalks.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Laura Cerna.
My name is Laura Cerna. I'm with the Criminal Justice Coalition of Kern here, and my father was killed by Bakersfield PD December of 2016. And my question is, with both Kern County Sheriff's Office and BPD are subject to stipulated judgments because of systematic violations of residents' constitutional rights and improper use of force, especially against people of color. What is your plan to address police abuses, and do you support including reparations like financial and transformative justice for impacted parties?
We'll start with Mr. Benninger and proceed.
Well, sorry to hear about your loss. Yeah, I think that police, well, I'll say police brutality, but if there's a situation like that, then if it is proven that there was an issue, then I think that the party should be compensated through that. And the person who was responsible for that should also have some sort of judgment against them, whether it, be having to leave the police force or whatever. But yes, they should be accountable for their actions.
I agree with what Boyd said, but I'd like to do a step farther. It is crucial that our police have a mutual, respectful relationship with the citizens. One thing I'll do if elected into a Ward 3 City Council is ban no-knock warrants. I believe that is dangerous and it shouldn't be allowed.
I think one of the problems that you run into is that sometimes if you have an officer that, like in any profession, a lot of times if an officer who actually breaks the law or does things that are not acceptable, even police officers don't want those officers around, and people will say, oh, you're glad that, or you're going to try and cover for them. We work hard. We have a reputation to uphold. There are a lot of good officers here in Kern County, Bakersfield, that work very hard. And the last thing they want is an officer who is going to make them look bad. Because when you see a bad officer, you don't think Bakersfield PD, Kern County Sheriff, California Highway Patrol. You just see bad police. We don't want somebody who is a bad officer that's going to be out there. I also think the idea of, we're all pretty much going to the citizen review boards now, and they do get a say in a lot of things that happen to the department. I always want to make sure that we're keeping our police departments and our law enforcement agencies at top notch. and working with the public. And I always welcome the community for their input. And there already are steps in place for a lawsuit if for the department or the officers.
Thank you, Laura. Our next question is from Ivan Sandoval with Center for Race, Poverty, and the Environment.
Good evening. Ivan Sandoval here with CRP. We're based out of Delano. We focus on environmental justice issues. So the next question we have is, we live in one of the most polluted areas in the United States. We have abysmal air quality issues, pesticide drift, as we mentioned earlier, water issues, and high rates of asthma. Where will addressing our environment fall on your list of priorities once you take office? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. It's going to be really high. It's actually one of the things I am campaigning for. And like I said, one of the things I'm going to invest in is ground-based cloud seeding. This increases rain fall throughout Bakersfield. And rain does clean the air. So with more rain, increased rain, you would get better air quality and less asthma because of rain that we will receive.
I think the fact that we all live in this county, I think that it's a concern of all of us. I mean, we all want healthy air. We all want, we want clean water. And so I think that's something that obviously in our office that we're going to be concerned about.
Yes, I agree with Mr. Smith. It is, you're talking about the Delano area, which is here in Bakersfield, but we do have here in Bakersfield as well that have that situation, especially down the lower basin of we get the backup, all the smog and whatnot. And so, yeah, it's just something that we need to try to come up with a solution for. It's something that we need to work towards cleaning up. And at least if we can't clean it up for completely, we need to stop it from increasing. Do the best we can.
Thank you. Our next question goes to Rosa Lopez with the American Civil Liberties Union.
Good afternoon. And my question is so Kern County is home to 3 immigration detention centers, has capacity to hold up to 2,000 immigrant communities. 2 are currently in operation. If elected, how will you protect our immigrant communities and ensure that our cities and county do not have to rely on revenue from agencies, private immigration companies like GEO and ICE who contribute to that to keep our cities and county running?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't catch the first part of it. Sorry.
So our county is home to 3 immigration centers, has the capacity to hold up to 2,000 people in our county. 2 are in operation. If elected, how will you protect our immigrant communities and ensure that our cities and county does not have to rely on revenues from private prisons like GEO to keep our cities and counties running?
Well, that's a very good question. Yeah, we do have a large immigrant population here in Kern County and here in the city of Bakersfield. And I don't know, we'd have to look at how we would get funding for that, whether it be through grants or setting money aside in the budget to fund those. But it's about the only way we could get to that, to make sure that they were maintained.
We would need to find grants or put money away from the budget to save for these programs. Also, pass city ordinances that increase revenue. A lot of things I would like to do would be, one of the things I like to do is, legalize gambling. With the banning of gas-powered cars, we need more revenue. And if you legalize gambling, we can profit off of things like the casino that's being built in Tejon, and we can tax these and increase the funding for better programs.
I'm guessing you don't want GEO prisons. That's what you're saying, correct? Okay, yeah. I would need more information on what you're talking about, because if you're saying that we don't want prisons at all for that, I would have a concern about not to say we're not having prisons, because again, if we have serious criminals or felons, we don't want them out on the streets if they're serious criminals, right? So you're okay. Okay, stop that clock over there. I'm just kidding. Okay, simple immigration is okay. So civil immigration right now isn't something that we're doing now anyway. The county sheriffs are not dealing with the immigration. I think if you're talking about federal, right? Federal immigration. So that's the feds. That's not something that you would touch anyway. But afterwards, if you want to talk, I'll talk, because I think there's more to this. So I don't want to put you off. So after we're done here, if you want to talk to me, we can talk about that, okay? And I'm also taking concerns as people say it, so that I don't just listen to you today. I also have the concerns to follow up on as well, and know that they're your concerns, okay?
Thank you, everybody. Our final question of the open-ended questions, we're going to turn to our online audience, and there's a question from Eliana Honeycutt, if we're able to accommodate that question.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So my question is, the vast majority of city leadership and staff do not reflect the demographics of the residents that they serve, of their constituents. So, for example, the city manager and both assistant managers are white men, but the city of Bakersfield is over 3/4 or 75% people of color. How will you ensure underrepresented people are recruited, hired, and supported in their positions in the city?
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Yeah, one thing I would, how do I answer this? People of color, such as myself, you just need to apply for a job. I can't force a business to hire individuals of color of a specific race. I can't force a business to do that. That's not my job. A business owner, their job is to hire the best employee for the job that they're seeking. If elected, I would make sure that they have that people who of color have the same opportunities to apply for these jobs and to have have more access to get these jobs, but they would have to compete like everybody else.
Okay, with my career on the California Highway Patrol, I think everybody sees the commercials, the advertisements. We work really hard to get all underrepresented groups onto the Highway Patrol. We've always done that. I've always taken part in that. And it's not just about the person that you're hiring that's from an underrepresented group. It's that the people in that neighborhood or those groups or the underrepresented groups feel represented. It's more than just hiring the person. It's trying to get the community behind you, and they have confidence in you and in your office. So I think if you look at my past, you'll see that I've always pushed for that. And I've always even gone into the different community groups with the Highway Patrol, gave out a lot. I bought a lot of toys and stuff and different candies and stuff just so that they would see the Highway Patrol and then want to become Highway Patrol. So I think it's very important that we make sure that all the groups are represented so that they have confidence in their community and their leadership.
Well, I believe the specific question was more towards the city and the makeup there. And I think that the process should be that everybody has an equal chance to go through that process. And then as a city, we want to be represented by who would best do that. So if it happens to be a person of color, then they should be the one selected. If it's someone else, then they should be selected as well. You need to pick the best person for that position that's going to get the job done.
All right, thank you very much, candidates. We're going to move on to our rapid fire questions. You might recall that we just did 2 related to the countywide ballot measures, and now you're going to have a series of rapid fire questions. So get those cards handy. The green one means yes, and the red one means no, and you'll have a bonus 30 seconds after all the rapid fire questions are completed to respond and elaborate on any of your answers. I think I left my remote control a little too long without pressing it, so if we could move to the next slide, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Greg. Turn it off and turn it on and see if that helps. All right, here we go. First question. Do you agree that abortions are a healthcare right? Green means yes, red means no. All right. Next question. If elected, would you support the raising of the LGBTQIA+ pride flag? Yes means green and red means no. Do you support annexing county islands into your city? And because that applies generally to the city, but also has to come before the County Board of Supervisors, feel free to answer it in accordance with the race you're running for. Green means yes, you support annexing county islands into your city, and red means no, you do not support that. Okay, all right. Will you uphold California's place as a sanctuary state for immigrants? Green means yes, red means no. Okay. Do you support healthcare for all? Green for yes, red for no. Okay. You'll get it. You'll get it. You'll get a chance. Do you support terminating contracts between law enforcement and school districts? Green for yes, red for no. Do you support the expansion of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and programs in your jurisdiction? The new Omicron-based COVID booster is out. It's not just coming out when I wrote the question on the screen here. It is out. Do you support people getting vaccinated and boosted for COVID? Green for yes, red for no. Red for no, green for yes. All right. Do you believe that hiring more police officers is a public health expenditure? That's probably the right response. Do you believe that hiring more police officers is a public health expenditure? Green for yes, red for no. I'll repeat it again so you have a chance to think about it. Do you believe that hiring more police officers is a public health expenditure? So, for example, this was a justification that was used recently to use COVID response funding to justify hiring more Kern County sheriffs. So do you support that use of that public health justification to hire more police officers or sheriffs? Green for yes, red for no. Okay, very good. You will, yeah, absolutely.
Do you believe there is voter fraud in Kern County? Green for yes, red for no. Do you believe there is voter fraud in Kern County? All right. Okay. Whew. We're going to take a minute and breathe in through our nose and out through our mouths because relief is here, right? We've got our bonus 30 seconds to explain your reasoning for any of your rapid fire responses. And that means it could be any one of the questions here on the screen or the ballot measure responses that you gave earlier. So I believe, who was our next person to start first?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about the LGBTQJA pride flag. It depends on what that meant, where it be raised. I think it should be displayed. I don't know if they mean if it should be under the American flag, California flag, and then that. I'm not sure I would agree with that just because of history, but I do have no problem with the flag being displayed wherever people want to display it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Binninger. Mr. Barone, would you like to use your 30 seconds?
Well, I wish I can get through all of these. But, well, I'll just pick with the Omicron booster shot because that's an easy one. I believe, you guys have a right to get a shot. You have a right to get a booster shot. However, it should not be mandated. I don't believe that people should be forced to get the shot or booster.
Okay, I'm gonna have to talk fast, right? Don't start yet. I didn't start speaking yet. Hold on. Let me first say, everybody said something when we talked about the flag. I'm telling you, my son is gay. I'm very proud of my son. My only issue with that is where you raise a flag and we do not fly the blue line, the blue police sign on our offices. We are not allowed to do that. So it depends where. But my son is gay, very proud of him, and I don't have any issues with that at all. As far as the abortion, I'm Catholic, and so I'm against abortion, and that's how I feel about that. Okay. What? I didn't say anything about that. You asked my personal opinion. I didn't say anything about anything else.
Okay, I want to also kind of help us remember that at the beginning of this event, we talked about it being an educational experience, and I really appreciate that everybody is participating. Definitely want to make sure that our candidates have equal opportunity to be heard. So we will move on with some voter information. You have heard a lot of really important information tonight. Now it's time to use it to vote, to encourage other people to vote, and and for all the folks who can't vote, to vote, get out there and vote if you can vote, because there's so many people who can't, right? And let's not forget, Prop 17 passed, everybody. It means that if you're on probation or parole, you can vote. Please tell everybody you know that voting is, eligibility is open. DoloresHuerta.org 2022 vote and votersedge.org. That's an opportunity for you to get more information if you didn't get what you needed tonight. I like using this website because I can plug in my address and it pulls up my ballot. And I'm like, I don't know who this, we had some candidates who didn't attend tonight. What are they about? Well, I plug in my address, it pulls up my ballot, and I click on their names and it tells me all sorts of stuff about them. So really, really helpful stuff. Plus the ability to track your ballot. I get a text message when Kern Elections sends my ballot in the mail. It's really, really helpful. And if you need help doing any of that, you're more than welcome to contact any of the organizations that you saw represented here tonight. You're also welcome to use the QR codes or to text message our organizer in Bakersfield, Cecilia Delgado. Cecilia, are you here? Stand up and say hello so everybody knows how amazing you are. If you were an organization representative, you asked a question tonight, or you otherwise participated in making this event amazing, stand up and let everybody see you, because they can talk to you about being a part of our civic engagement work. Thank you, everybody. You can talk to any one of these people who stood up. They're here to help. And of course, get out there and volunteer. It's time to knock on, the weather is nice finally. Let's do this. If you don't want to be out there knocking on doors, make phone calls. My colleague Eliana is going to be running a bunch of phone banks to get out the vote. En español también. Oops, I went too far. Excuse me. But it's always a good time to see the Si se puede sign. We're going to have closing statements. Each candidate's going to have 1 minute to sum up what they want to sum up, right? We started our introductions with Mr. Binninger and then proceeded this direction. So this time around, we're going to start with Mr. Smith and go back that way so we can be fair. Any questions before we begin this final round here? All right.
So I have to make sure I came here today because this is a nonpartisan race. However, as you know, there's 2 Republicans that are running. And so basically I wanted to come here today. Obviously, we're not going to agree on every single thing, but I think you'll find that I am here because I want you to know that I do represent you. I will be there to represent you. And as the issues come up, I want to make sure that I hear from both sides. And I want to make sure that everybody feels that they're represented. One of the problems I think you see is that when you call, a lot of times politicians or officials, they don't get back to you. I will get back to you within 48 hours. You'll get an answer. We'll work on it together. I want everybody to know that if I get in, you're getting represented. And I will meet with you or talk with you to address your concerns. And thank you very much for coming out tonight.
Mr. Binninger?
Well, I agree with Mr. Smith as far as the parties. In city government shouldn't be partisan. Politics shouldn't play a role in city government. Shouldn't be the decision shouldn't be decided on whether you're Republican or Democrat. The decision should be made on what's best for the city, and that's where I'm at in that particular deal. Wanted to say that a couple of those rapid fire questions reading from here I didn't understand, and I heard a lot of those. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them afterwards, hopefully. But again, appreciate you all coming out. And again, my platform is crime, public safety. Everybody should feel safe in their neighborhood. Homelessness, we need to do something to try and control it. It appears to be getting out of hand, even though we are getting better. I will say I was very proud of the Navigation Center I visited yesterday, the Bunyan Lane Navigation Center. It's nice to know that they've housed 173 people since October 2020. So there is some good things going on. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. I'm open. You guys can approach me, even with those rapid fire questions. You know, if you want to know what I'm about. Another thing I'd like to address is my view of homelessness. One thing I would do if elected is I'm going to fix the homeless issue. Okay. One thing I'm going to do if I'm elected with the homeless issue is I'm going to mandate homeless people to go into homeless shelters. And I'm going to mandate them, give them jobs, help them get jobs, and be part of the workforce. Another thing I'm going to do when it comes to crime is I'm going to pass a city ordinance that would declare Bakersfield a Second Amendment sanctuary city. Because when seconds count, the police are always minutes away, and it is your responsibility as an individual for your safety. So I'll allow people to encourage people to carry their own firearms.
Okay, I want to give a big round of applause to our candidates for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And a final couple notes for everybody before we all get up and go to our cars. I want to recognize that our candidates are here. I want to recognize that there are many candidates who were not here, right? And you see here who all is representing this forum tonight. These organizations stand for some of our most cherished values here on the planet, okay? And we represent community. We had community questions, and these candidates came here to show the respect to our community. So I really want to thank you for being here. It's the whole point of having a nonpartisan candidate forum so that we can respectfully disagree with one another and find out some of the surprising ways in which we do agree. So thank you for coming out here tonight. Your candidates have already mentioned that they're more than open to having continued conversations. Please be safe. Go on into the rest of your evening, and thank you for being here tonight. Thanks to the Beal and to our interpreters too, Punjabi and Spanish. This is Bakersfield. Good night, everybody. You're welcome, Lupe. Hey, not a problem. Thank you for being here. At the last event, there were some